Good morning. I now call to order today's special meeting of the Board of Supervisors for the University of Louisiana System. As a courtesy to all, I ask that you please turn off your electronic devices. In a few minutes, we'll entertain public comments prior to conducting interviews. If there are any final remarks you would like to share with the board concerning the finalists, please complete one of the testimony cards located on the table at the entry of the auditorium and turn it into a UL staff member. Carol, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Drew Brown, Mr. Barry Busada, Dr. Jimmy Clark, Mr. Steve Davison, Ms. Lola Donahoe, Dr. Joe Leatherman,
Present.
Dr. John Noble,
Present.
Mr. Al Perkins,
Here.
Mr. Dana Peterson, Ms. Elizabeth Pierre, Mr. Virgil Robinson, Mr. Mark Romero,
Here.
Ms. Christine Russell, Mr. Joe Salter, Mr. Brad Stevens,
Here.
Ms. Julie Stokes. We have a quorum.
Thank you, Carol. Ms. Lola Donahoe sends her best and regrets that she can't be with us today. As we begin, we ask that Mr. Joe Salter please give us an invocation.
Thank you, Lord, for those who will apply and thank you, Lord, for that discussion. And our staff in particular, carry out our duties. Thank you, Lord, for the blessings and ask us to be singing.
Amen. Thank you. Before we move on to the main purpose of today's meeting, we have three time-sensitive matters for our campuses that need to be considered by the board. The first is Grambling's request for authorization to submit a master lease agreement for housing overflow. That's a good problem to have. And the second, we have an item that will require some consideration as well for UL Lafayette in the same circumstance.
Mr. Chairman and members, Grambling State University currently has an overflow situation, as you mentioned, which is a good problem to have, of approximately 200 prospective students who they don't have on-campus housing room for. And this would give them the authority to take the steps necessary once they are able to identify the needed off-campus housing to accommodate those students. At University of Louisiana Lafayette, that number is growing beyond 600 students who need housing that they're unable to accommodate with current on-campus housing. So these two schools have requested the opportunity to take the steps necessary to engage off-campus housing. I'd be happy to answer any questions that anyone may have. If not, I would request a motion and second to approve the authority for Grambling State University and University of Louisiana Lafayette.
Mr. President, I move approval. Moved by Ms. Pierre, second by Mr. Robinson. Any further questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Lastly, we have an item where we're seeking authorization to update an appraisal for a state land property located at 925 Camp Street on behalf of the University of New Orleans. Any questions? I could have a motion in a second.
So
Moved by Dr. Noble, second by
Stevens.
Stevens. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Most importantly, we'll receive a report today on the Presidential Search Committee for Northwestern. And at this time, we'll receive commentary from President Rick Gallo, who chaired the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll go off script just a bit as we are moving forward with the search process. I think it would be incredibly important to highlight and recognize Dr. Marcus Jones, who is here today, who has agreed to come and rejoin us here at the system office. And I can't tell you how excited I am and the entire team is to have him to come in and to rejoin us. But I think it's important that we recognize the hard work that he and his team have done over the last several years. And of course, he's got, over a quarter of a century invested in various different roles at Northwestern State University, through COVID, through so many other many challenges. He's been an incredible leader. And so I think it would be appropriate that we recognize and thank Dr. Marcus Jones for his service at Northwestern. Thank you for letting me go off script a little bit, Mr. Chairman.
Absolutely.
In June, the search committee held its initial meeting on Northwestern's campus to begin the preliminary work to find the next president of this university, as well as to gather information and input from campus community and others on desirable qualities for the next president. On July 8th, the committee met here in Baton Rouge to review applications and select semifinalist candidates for interview on campus. After thoughtful discussion, the committee unanimously decided to invite 3 candidates, Dr. Jose Cantu, Justice James Genovese, and Dr. Richard Riccardi, who subsequently removed his name from consideration. On Tuesday of this week, the committee met in Natchitoches and interviewed the remaining 2 candidates, gathering additional input from faculty, staff, students, alumni, and community members about their meetings with the 2 semifinalist candidates. After discussion, the committee unanimously decided to recommend Justice James Genovese for interview by the entire board today at our special meeting. Before we begin the interview, I want to thank the committee members for their service. Board members, Mr. Drew Brown, Mr. Barry Busada, Ms. Lola Donahoe, Dr. John Noble, Ms. Elizabeth Pierre, Mr. Al Perkins, Mr. Mark Romero, Mr. Joe Salter. Also, it would not have been an effective committee were it not for the dedicated presence and work of our constituent members, the Honorable Judge Cade Cole, Ms. Angelique Friel, Mr. Doug Ireland, Ms. Gail Jones, Representative Jeremy Lacombe, Mr. Ronnie McClellan, Tommy McClellan, Ms. Leah Sherman Middlebrook, Mr. Robert Skeeter Salim, Dr. Frank Serio, who served as the faculty Senate president, and Mr. Terrell T.J. Woodard, Northwestern State University student government president. Lastly, I'd like to express appreciation to the Northwestern family for efficiently and for their efficiency and organization and for their gracious hospitality to the semifinalists, committee members, and ULS staff. Thank you all so much. That concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, we will entertain any final public comments. Dr. Kale, do you have any public comments to share?
Yes, sir. Good morning. We have a public comment from Ms. Leah Sherman Middlebrook. She is the president of NSU Alumni Association.
Thank you. The Northwestern State University Alumni Association presents a resolution endorsing the Honorable.
Let's see if your mic is on. There we go.
Is that better? Okay, thank you. The Northwestern State University Alumni Association presents a resolution and endorsement of the Honorable James Genovese for the position of President of Northwestern State University. Whereas the Board of Directors of the Alumni Association evaluated finalists of the NSU Alumni Search, whereas the Board of Directors reviewed the qualifications and credentials possessed by the Honorable Genovese, we offer this resolution. Mr. Genovese has a distinguished record of accomplishment and demonstrated leadership skills at all levels of public service for over 4 decades, including his current tenure as Justice of the Louisiana Supreme Court. He has a leadership style that is collaborative, consultative, open, and transparent, based on a record of strong leadership and willingness to make tough decisions. He has an appreciation of the values and objectives of our alma mater, including a dedication to top quality teaching and scholarship, as well as a commitment to enhance the academic profile and reputation of the university. He recognizes the importance of attracting, recruiting, and developing excellent administrators and a commitment to building a strong collaborative leadership team. He has a commitment to recruiting and retaining highly qualified faculty, an appreciation and understanding of the unique qualities and issues of a Northwestern student, and an appreciation of arts history and the unique culture of the area. He will work closely with the Board of Supervisors to implement board policies and has a proven ability to communicate effectively at all levels, to include faculty, staff, students, families, alumni, legislatures, community leaders, and other external constituents. He has a strong commitment to athletics, as is specifically noted as a Demon athlete and a letter winner and a member of the Northwestern tennis team. He will take a prominent and sustained role in fundraising to expand the university's resource base, additions to endowments, gifts for faculty, facilities, scholarships, and financial support for our faculty and staff. He will foster an environment of optimism, creativity, and innovation. Whereas, after considering the applications for the position of president, the board of directors has elected to endorse James Genovese as the next president of Northwestern State University. Now therefore it be resolved that the directors of the Northwestern State University Alumni Association honorably endorse James Genovese as the next president, and respectfully request the Board of Supervisors select James Genovese as the next president of Northwestern. Unanimously approved at a special meeting of the Board of Directors on July the 17th.
Thank you, Ms. Middlebrook. And I want to thank the alumni for their engagement. We certainly want to thank the community as a whole for the support that was given as we work through this process. Thank you very much for being here. So before we begin today, I want to share the framework for today's interview. Justice Genovese will provide an opening statement, and then the board will pose questions. Following the public interview, we'll enter into an executive session to further dialogue with the candidate. After the executive session is concluded, the board will remain in executive session to discuss any final personnel issues. The board will then return to an open session for discussion and a vote. Are there any questions from board members? Hearing none, we will proceed with the interview. At this time, I would like to invite Justice James Genovese to the table. President Gallo will provide a little background.
James Genovese is a distinguished legal professional with a career spanning 50 years. He holds a bachelor's degree from Northwestern State University and a Juris Doctorate from Loyola University. Genovese practiced law in South Louisiana for 21 years before serving 29 years as a judge and associate justice on the Louisiana Supreme Court. As a Louisiana State District Court judge for the 27th Judicial District in St. Landry Parish, he contributed significantly to legal education, speaking at numerous conferences on topics such as professionalism, ethics, and judicial review. Justice Genovese also played a crucial role in securing funds and appropriations from the Louisiana legislature for the judiciary and social programs. He served on the Louisiana Supreme Court's Judicial Council, Appellate Court Work Point Values Working Group, and was inducted into Northwestern State University's Long Purple Line Alumni Hall of Distinction in 2018. Justice James Genovese's legacy is marked by his dedication to law, judicial education, and advocacy for judicial funding.
Thank you, Justice Genovese, for joining us today and your wonderful bride. Before you give your opening statement, I would like the members of the board to introduce themselves, beginning with Mr. Drew Brown on my left.
Good morning, Justice Genovez and members of the community. My name is Drew Brown. I'm the student board member for the UL system.
My name is Joe Salter. I'm from Sabine Parish and I serve on the board.
Steve Davison from Lincoln Parish.
Brad Stevens from Tangipahoa Parish.
Mark Romero, Iberia Parish.
Elizabeth Pierre from Monroe, Washita Parish.
Christine Russell from Lafourche Parish.
Al Perkins from Ascension Parish, serving in 8th year. I started my 9th.
Joe Leatherman, Baton Rouge.
John Noble, Calhoun Parish.
Thank you, members. At this point, would you please take a few minutes to introduce yourself and provide the board with an opening statement?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much, board members, for taking time out of your schedule to meet with me and listen to me. You have vetted me, and now I have been venting to you as to who I am and what I am. You've already gone over my resume and my bio. What I would like to say is that there is someone here that I would like to also acknowledge, a young lady that was an attendee at Northwestern, I might add, and also sought to go into the military. And 7 years after that, she was discharged as a staff sergeant in the United States Air Force. And that young lady actually is the wind beneath my wings that I get an awful lot of credit for. Credit goes to her, and that would be my wife for 36 years, Martha James Genovez. Here. So as I come before you as a blue light special, 2 for the price of 1, I will tell you this, that I am concerned about the decline at Northwestern. I am an alumnus. I put my sweat and blood on for its 4 years at Northwestern. They gave me the foundation to be where I am today. And that is the onus that made me want to consider being the president of this university. I'm tired of the question being asked to me, what's going on at Northwestern? You give me the opportunity, I'm going to answer that question, and we're going to have things that are going on that are going to be positive and good. I'm going to put Northwestern back on the map. After I said that I would consider and throw my name in the hat at Northwestern, I immediately got a hold of the 2024 fact book on Northwestern. And I wanted to see and confirm what I thought was going on. And pretty much what I saw is what I thought was going on. The decline in enrollment. Over the last 4 years, we've lost 2,600 students, 22.5% of our enrollment. That is critical. We have to fix that. That is primary. And the way you fix that is first you look at recruiting, right? And then after recruiting, you consider marketing. They all dovetail together. In addition to that, I was very much concerned about financing. You cannot drink from the well until you prime it. So you must prime the well in order to do this. You must pay to play. We have to look very carefully I'm sorry, can you hear me? We have to look very carefully at the finances and to make sure that we are adequately financed in the departments that need it. And what I plan to do, and I use my background in this, is that on the Supreme Court, I have worked very closely with the legislature for 8 years, and I would go to the legislature and try, along with my colleagues, to get the appropriate appropriations for the judiciary, which happens to be the third branch of government. So I have played that game and I'm familiar with it, and I'm familiar with the legislature, and I intend to use that institutional knowledge, that along with the fact that in my job as a Supreme Court Justice, we take care of the ethics and discipline of 19,000 lawyers. We take care of the ethics and discipline of 372 judges. We handle a $208 million budget. And we control over 200 employees. With that institutional knowledge, I'm confident that I can do the job as president of Northwestern. I owe it to Northwestern. Because of Northwestern, as I said earlier, that's why I'm here today. And I want to do something with Northwestern and I want to return it to the prominence that it deserves where it was. And we can do that. All we need to do is just turn the corner, and we can turn that corner. And what we have to do, first off, is to have public exposure of just what the jewel is we have at Northwestern. Northwestern has so many things. It's a diamond in the rough. But if nobody knows about it, it doesn't happen. And we've got to bring that out in the public. The things that we have at Northwestern, some of which are unique to the state of Louisiana. They are wonderful things. It's a great place. It's a family unit at Northwestern. You will go there and have a teacher-student relationship that is workable, whether the teacher knows the student knows the teacher. And that is important. We're not bringing them to an institution where there are 35,000 people. We're bringing them to an institution that's family. And what I plan to do is first to go in and take inventory. And I want to talk to the staff. I want to talk to the department heads. I want to speak with the deans. I want to speak with the provost. And I already have been working with Dr. Greg Hundle, a very fine man and a good person who's got his thumb on the pulse of the faculty. And I want to work with them, and I want to make sure that the students know that they have an open door with me. And students with an open door with me know that they can contact me. They will have my cell phone, and I would be glad to answer to them to make sure that there's communication. They feel comfortable between themselves and the faculty. I think that's important, and that's all part of the family unit. So if you give me that opportunity, if you turn me loose to go out in the public and blow the horn of Northwestern, it's easy for me to do because I went there for 4 years and I know how important it is, and I know what a great place it is. And so therefore, I ask for your vote, each one of you individually, to vote for me for the presidency of Northwestern Louisiana so that I can turn it around and return it to the prominence it deserves. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do any members of the board have questions for Justice Genovese at this time? Ms. Leatherman?
Thank you. In difficult budgetary times, what do you do as a leader to inspire confidence, raise morale, and maintain institutional effectiveness?
As a Supreme Court justice or a Court of Appeal judge or a judge, district court judge, you live in a glass house. People look and see everything that you do. And when you're at the baseball game, they watch what you do. When you're in the supermarket, they watch what you do. So integrity is critical. And it's so very important to keep your credibility intact and your integrity intact, because these people look up to you. And it's important that you are clean and that you do the right thing and you show them the proper values and morals. And that's what I intend to do. That's what I've always intended to do. And that's what my mother taught me to do. And she may be deceased over 30 years, but I still hear her voice when I get out of line. And I know that she's looking down upon me and say, son, you know, you can do better than that. And so therefore, that's why I think the keys are integrity and credibility, and to not only just talk about it, to show it when you're in the public. And I think and I hope that I have done that over the 50 years that I have been in law and the 29 years that I have served as a judge representing the state of Louisiana.
Thank you, Justice.
Drew?
What strategies would you implement to support student retention, graduation rates, and overall student success?
Why go to college if you're not going to graduate? Are you going there to just play? And I don't want to answer your question, Mr. Brown, with a question, but it seems to me that if you're going to spend the time to go to college, you're there on a mission. And what is your mission? Your mission is to learn in your field of education so that you can get that diploma. And that diploma is going to put you in a position where you can get the job that you seek. And in order to do that, you go the full term. Other than that, you're wasting your money. If it's your money, you're wasting your parents' money. If it's their money involved in going to college. If you're going there just to play, you're going to the wrong place. It's too expensive to go play at college these days. And so if you should be dedicated, and I want to make sure that they are directed in the right direction, because some of them go to college to study this and they wind up graduating in that. And sometimes it takes time for you to settle in as to what is your forte, where you want to proceed. So I think having counselors and speaking to them, and I don't mind speaking to them personally about it, because I will be there and I will be there open to them, because students do need guidance. It's scary when you go off to college. The parents, when they drop their child off, they cry on the way home. Okay, the children cry because their parents are not there, because it's really a frightening experience, especially if you're not from that area. So being there, communicating with them, and making sure that they're in the right direction, that they're going to college for a purpose and a reason. And that purpose and a reason is to get an education in the field that they feel comfortable with and what they want to do for the rest of their life. And to get that diploma, get out and get a job, hopefully stay within the state of Louisiana and pay taxes, and everything is good. Win-win for everybody.
Good morning. How do you prioritize academic excellence at the same time balancing the diverse needs of your students, your faculty, and the staff?
I think they go together. They go hand in hand. Diversity is very, very important, and not only in education, but in all aspects of life. And I do not see, especially at present, though I don't know all the answers. I've been away for a while. But I certainly want to review all of this to make sure that diversity dovetails with academics, and that there are no glitches in that. They should be one and the same, and it should flow regularly. And academics isn't that what you're there for in college? You're going there for the academic aspect of it. But there's so much more to college. It's not just the academics. And I will tell you, though, I want it to be short, and I want it to be brief, and I don't want to just drag it out. But it is important, the education aspect of it. But I have found in my review thus far that we got a doggone good faculty at Northwestern. And I am really pleased with that, because to me, that's not an area that I have to say, well, I'll have to go in and do something. It's not like a problem area like I'm considering in the area of recruiting, in marketing, and having an open exposure, and blowing your horn in the public, and financing. So when I looked at academics, I said, that was a breath of fresh air, because we got a good faculty, and they have good program. They have a good curriculum. And also, I will say this, when you've got a very devoted faculty president in Dr. Serio, you've got an excellent provost in Greg Hundle. Greg Hundle, he was the first person I met with. And he told me how the cow ate the cabbage. And I learned that, and I learned a lot from him, and he does an excellent job with the faculty. So I feel good about that. I do not see any diversity problems, and I will not allow any diversity problems to fester.
Any other questions? Yes, Justice Genovese, you've had a chance to visit with the faculty and the students, the staff, the alum, and the business leaders of the community. After those discussions, what do you consider to be key issues? And as you identified those key issues, how do you plan, what is your approach to address those key issues?
To address the kids?
Just those key issues. I'm sorry.
My plans to address the key issues.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, first of all, in recruiting, I've already found out that we're grossly understaffed. You know, we have 3 recruiters to cover the state. You can't do that, right? So that needs to be addressed. I want to make sure that the funds that are spent at that university are spent on areas that are going to promote the best interests of that university, and not just a job to say you have a job. I want a job dedicated to a sole purpose to advance that. What I plan to do after listening to the students, I know that they want the family environment. I know how important that is, and I know how important communication is. And I have told them, I've told TJ, well, I've told the student body president that I'm with you, and you know how to reach me. And we've already talked a number of times already about what we can do to further the approach to transparency, communication between faculty, student, and me. Okay, you can come directly to me. That's my job. When it comes to the legislature is an interesting entity. Okay, you have to please don't ask me to define that. It's an interesting entity, and you have to know how the game is played. And there is no real rule book to walk into the legislature and say this and do that. There really isn't. You almost have to, it's almost baptism by fire. And I have been baptized for 8 times so far. it's something that I know that I can help Northwestern with the financing in that regard. I feel confident that the support that I have felt is just so invigorating to me from the alumni and the community leaders that they want something to be done. And I am there to do what needs to be done. I want to take a passive alumni and I want to make that alumni active. And I want them to believe in Northwestern again. Because if you turn, and I used the example day before yesterday of the one domino and the dominoes in the string. If I can just push that first domino down, the other dominoes will fall in line. And I think that once they see that we're moving in the right direction, they're going to open their pocketbooks and they're going to want to be a part of Northwestern and they're going to want to advance the Northwestern in a good, positive way. I am confident of that, but we need leadership. And that's what the president's job is, leadership. It's not sitting behind some desk, overlooking this, that, and everything else. You get out in the street and you meet the people and you talk to everybody in every department and you see how they're doing, what's the problems they have, and then we go back and we fix what needs to be fixed. But it's all a matter of leadership. And sir, I've tried to be a leader all my life. And I hope that I have accomplished that. And I'm confident that I can be a leader for Northwestern and give them the leadership they deserve.
Justice Genovese, please identify or define interesting as it relates to Louisiana legislature. I'm joking. Just kidding. What's your vision for Northwestern and how do you plan to promote that institution towards achieving that vision?
My vision is to reinvigorate and rejuvenate Northwestern. I'm not in it to lose. I don't like to lose. I have lost some, but I've won an awful lot. And this is one I want to win. I have chosen this as perhaps my final endeavor in the field of employment. I have chosen this. It means so much to me that I would be willing to forego the remaining 2 years on my term to help the institution that allowed me to get where I am today. My mission in reinvigorating Northwestern, that is crucial to me. It is stale, it is stagnant. It needs an injection. It needs to be brought up to snuff. And we cannot do that without the proper marketing and advertising and recruiting, where we have fallen short in that area. And just for example, that why we're not getting the students we used to get from the towns and the cities that would always send their kids to Northwestern. We've got to get back and reestablish that. There's a lot of competition out there, but I'll tell you this, that if Northwestern loses, the UL system loses, and Northwestern has to be helped in this regard. And a chain is only as strong as the weakest link. And so we're all in it together, all 9 universities, to be the best that we can. And I want to make sure that Northwestern is gonna pull its fair share of the load and be as competent as any other university around. And they have all the goods and services to do it. They just need to get out and spread the word and blow the horn. And that is my vision. Especially, it's so obvious to me that things that, and I'm close to that university. There are things I had no idea even existed, whether it was in the performing arts or whether, I mean, the nursing school, the education school. I mean, we have so much to offer, but if they don't know about it, it's no good to you. So that's what I have to do. That in order to accomplish my vision is to get the exposure, and I plan to get the exposure. And everyone that I've spoken to are willing to help me put Northwestern back on the map again.
Thank you. Any further questions? Hearing none, the Board of Supervisors for the University of Louisiana System may meet in executive session to discuss personnel matters associated with the search under the provisions of Louisiana Revised Statute 4217. While in executive session, the board may not make any motions or take any actions. May I have a motion and second to go in executive session.
So move, Stevens.
Moved by Stevens, second by Leatherman. Carol, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Drew Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Steve Davison, Dr. Joe Leatherman,
Yes.
Dr. John Noble, Mr. Al Perkins, Ms. Elizabeth Pierre, Mr. Virgil Robinson, Mr. Mark Romero,
Yes.
Ms. Christine Russell, Mr. Joe Salter, Mr. Brad Stevens.
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Thank you, Carol. The board will now adjourn to room 136C. When we reconvene, we'll remain in executive session to discuss the candidate. The Board of Supervisors for the University of Louisiana System met in executive session to discuss personnel matters associated with this search. While in executive session, no motions were made nor votes taken. Is there a motion to reconvene in open session? Move. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Are there any comments from the board at this time? I'd like to make an introduction or invite some discussion, dialogue around any board action that will be considered at this time.
I have a motion, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Salter, ready?
I move that we appoint Justice James Genovese, President of Northwestern State University, and authorize our system president, Rick Gallo, and the board chair, to negotiate the terms of his appointment and to execute an offer of employment on behalf of the board.
I second the motion. Mr. Salter, second from Dr. Noble. Any discussion? Any other comments from the board at this time? All in favor?
Aye.
Yes,
Aye.
we need a roll call.
Aye.
Yeah, roll call.
Carol, if you could roll call.
Mr. Drew Brown, Mr. Steve Davison,
Yes.
Dr. Joe Leatherman, Dr. John Noble,
Yes.
Mr. Al Perkins,
Yes.
Miss Elizabeth Pierre, Mr. Virgil Robinson, Mr. Mark Romero,
Yes.
Miss Christine Russell,
Yes.
Mr. Joe Salter,
Yes.
Mr. Brad Stevens.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you, Carol. I believe we have a new president for Northwestern State University. And congratulations. I would wait to welcome Justice Genovese, President Genovese now.
Heck, I don't know.
Now, President Genovese, you've been selected the 21st president of Northwestern State University. We look forward to working together as you begin your tenure. Would you like to address the board at this time?
Yes.
Pull the mic close to you.
Wow, I'm overwhelmed, and it's kind of like the commercial, you ask for it, you got it, Toyota, and like the dog chasing the car, what you gonna do once you catch it? And now that's what crosses my mind. I mean, what a great honor and pleasure to do that and be able to say that I got a chance to do something for Northwestern and to do something for the state of Louisiana. And I've kind of spent a good bit of my life working for the state of Louisiana, and this is going to be a breath of fresh air for me, and it's going to be a heck of a challenge, and I really look forward to it. And I thank you so much for your time and for your effort, and I want to work hard to make sure that you're satisfied that you made the right choice, and that's how I feel about it. Thank you so much.
Congratulations again. This is a very momentous occasion, and we look forward to your future leadership and the influence as the community comes together to advance the success of Northwestern State University. Once again, I'd like to thank President Gallo, Drs. Kale and O'Rourke, the system staff, members of the committee, and the board for their diligence. And congratulations again, President Genovese. We look forward to a very productive and successful presidency under your term. Are there any closing comments from any board members at this time? We have a motion to adjourn. Moved by Ms. Pierre, second by Dr. Noble. All in favor?
Aye.
We stand adjourned, and congratulations.